Good morning. How are we doing? You know, I've got this video that I'm making about Southern Stephan Molyneux getting to New Zealand to speak about what they're speaking about, and it was shut down. The venue they'd organised had been shut down, and so I've written a few comments under this video because they've made this reaction video, and they've made a comment about it, and so I mean, what I have been talking about is what they're talking about actually, but they believe at the moment that they're trying to articulate this problem, okay, and they can't articulate it. That's why the race thing seems so important, because that's the best articulation of the people that believe that anxiety is wisdom have to challenge the people that believe that courage is wisdom. It's to force them to stop communicating and only listen to them, right? And so I've written these comments, so I'll go down them, and so yeah, I'll just click it up here, clickety click click, and I've gone through a bit now. I've decided, yeah. Because it's just a case that, man, you know, I'm infuriated about this. I am furious about this. What is going on while the same thing is a recurring nightmare? You know, you can't go anywhere without this thing getting in your face. Right? Political correctness, these modern... You know, you notice how they don't talk to the likes of me about it, because I still want to know why, with all these decades of the heavy emotional blackmail of political correctness and feminism, and you know, all the propagandizing they've done, all of the promotion of these things, right? And not once has it been mentioned the value of respect and courtesy. You know, and all these aspirations they say they've got, they have never mentioned respect and courtesy, right? So where's this bloody video? Bloody hell. Oh God. Yeah, so the media, I mean, the one media guy, TV3 guy, Matt Gower, who's a political reporter. It's funny how many stories about New Zealand society the political reporter reports on it, right? That's real interesting, that, eh? And he reckoned on the TV3 thing that he couldn't even understand what they were saying. And that's because anxiety is not cognizant of what courage thinks. Anxiety does not acknowledge courage. See, Lauren and Stephan, they acknowledge courage, so they engage with all these things. But courage does not acknowledge anxiety, and anxiety knows it. Courage knows it.
So here we are.
And so for what reason is this the conventional wisdom that courage, you know, while courage acknowledges anxiety, anxiety does not acknowledge courage. Why is this the conventional wisdom? Anyway, says the thing, event cancelled, New Zealand is hostile to free speech. That's the title of the video.
In Auckland.
And here it is, you can hear it going on here.
We expected to be, but not where we're supposed to be, but
so,
where the fates and the left.
Now I would ask actually, you go and watch this. It's called Event Cancelled. I just put Lauren Southern and it came up, Lauren Southern, New Zealand. This was the video. Okay, event cancelled. Okay, so check it out. But here's me comments, right? Because you know what? This is the same as Australia, same as like practically everywhere else in the West. So here we go. Okay, here it is first, right? This is. I'm just going to lay it out. This is exactly what I put down, right? Okay. This is not. Hi from New Zealand. This is commenting on that video, right? Hi from New Zealand. This is not a surprise considering the law of this land. These are the 8 laws of anxiety. The first law of anxiety: one must conceal one's anxieties. The second law of anxiety is to allow all others to conceal their anxieties. The third law of anxiety is to accept at all time when a person seeks to ignore. The fourth law of anxiety is to accept without question the dishonesty that results from the first 3 laws. The fifth law of anxiety is to at all times acquiesce to they which are expressing the most anxiety. The sixth law of anxiety is never, by way of action, fail to express support for the laws of anxiety. The seventh law of anxiety is one must, at every opportunity, seek to undermine and maintain ongoing disruption for anyone that seeks to challenge the laws of anxiety. The eighth law of anxiety is that all people must, at every opportunity, promote anxiety as wisdom. These 8 laws of anxiety are the definitive reason that the human factor issues in the world societies have not been mitigated after millions of man-hours of the most highly qualified minds in academia and science. The 8 laws of anxiety enforce an 80% reduction in the quality of communication, including thought. Okay, so that's directly taken out of the revelation of the 8 laws. Okay, that segment, that's in the middle of it, right? Full disclosure, in the video, Theory of Relativity 2.0, and on my Facebook page, right? On my Facebook page, right? Well, if you look up Anxiety Engine Stopper New Zealand, Anxiety Engine Stopper New Zealand, NZ, that's my Facebook page. Consider that this reaction to community advocacy has happened while New Zealand has the worst emotional social statistics in the first world. If I were resourced, I would be taking my tech into a direct confrontation with conventional wisdom. Objectivity dictates the protesters you face are defending the virtue of anxiety and the political position of anxiety as the moral authority. So that's what they're really protesting about. Next comment. See, in the video, he makes a hand puppet analogy, okay? And here's my comment. According to the hand puppet analogy, this is a very good observation of the event of what corruption is actually doing, the function of the issue in play in real time. According to the revelation of the 8 laws, what this is the political perception according to what is offensive to the political correctness of anxiety. The optimum outcome, according to the political correctness of anxiety, is an instinctively intuited ideology that is adhered to by any that seek to gain approval from they that are seen as the moral authority, and this optimum outcome is that anxiety remains in power over consciousness and courage. The philosophy of the leftist political persuasion are actually running a defensive flanking action at all times to protect that which causes child abuse, domestic violence, and the uptake of substance dependency in youth. I know they say they are all offended about race, but what they really want in the macro instance is to render New Zealand culture neutral. This is anxiety's desired optimum outcome, is to make society culture neutral. And in the micro, all and sundry are desperate to stop any communication because in the first instance, stopping communication protects and promotes anxiety as wisdom and virtuous, and also prevents any challenge to anxiety being seen as the moral authority, because communication is the primary means of the expression of consciousness. This all entirely replicates the event of anxiety in the mind. Stephen and Lauren, I accept that what you're doing is the right thing to do, but not that you are challenging these recent events of the diaspora. You are defending and fighting for the existence of consciousness in the minds of the people. It is imperative we can be saved, for if not, we are lost to the future history of the universe. And this is what's going on. This is actually what's going on. This phenomenon of anxiety in the imperative is seeking to replicate the event of anxiety in the mind. In the imperative, it wants control of the whole world. And so I'll say, yeah, I'm backing up their efforts. And I was having to find that bit about the hand puppet thing.
Free speech, too. It's so weird. It's like, this isn't us. This is like hand puppets. This is like caricatures. This is not actually things that we've said, arguments that we've made. It's like, these are goofy photos. This is a joke you made. This is me not being able to speak because they won't play any sound of my speech. Like, it's just so weird. It's like we're not even here in the country. There's these weird caricatures. And
there you go. The terms that anxiety puts things. It turns people, you know, he's talking about the macro in society, what these big political groups are doing. But in the event in the mind, that's what it does. It turns things into caricatures because we instinctively conceptualise the process according to the means to speak. And so when we want to trivialise something, if we believe in the anxiety strikes and we believe in the anxiety, we will seek to trivialise who we perceive as opposing us, or who we believe threatens that it is exposed that we have a aversion to communicating. Okay? Desperate measures are taken to stop people knowing that there is an aversion to communicate. And so that's what he's just saying here.
And the big thing, now that we've been shut down, we don't get to, other than thank goodness on this YouTube channel, we don't get to speak for ourselves. People don't get to hear what we actually have to say. They get this perfectly curated image of what the media wants us to be saying.
Ha-ha! We get a perfectly curated image. Again, the imagined machinations of the aspirations of anxiety. Hey, look, watch the vid. It's quite a thing. You get the spontaneous expression of consciousness, right? And there's a lot of detail in every single event of that, when people are just spontaneously reacting according to courage, according to consciousness. You get this long series of statements, which is what most videos are, and you can take any single part of that statement and you can find that you can unpack the nuances of what they're saying, of each sentence. You can unpack the nuances in there, the nuances of perception in there, because courage and consciousness can perceive extremely detailed nuances, right? Really deep, seriously detailed nuances, man. And so this is what you can see once you perceive anxiety as a political entity. That changes it totally changes the ballgame. So I'm out there. I believe this. I believe that you only need to see the revelation of the 8 laws once. and then you're aware of it, and then you can't help but to figuratively hold it in your hand and look at it. It's impossible not to do that. So, to Lauren and Stephan, best wishes. All strengths, man, all speed. But what you guys need is the means to articulate. And staying within conventional wisdom is why you're having such a difficult time of it. Okay? And so, happy days, man, happy days.